name is Sharonica, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. How did that one do?
That was very good. Do just maybe one or two more, okay? Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So TEOFIMO Lopez, he posted a picture of him posing with Tyson Fury, and the caption reads, "Two giants taking over the sport." Now, clearly, him putting up a picture of him and Tyson Fury hanging out, that alone, there's nothing wrong with that. But when he put this picture up, I started to notice a pattern with TEOFIMO Lopez. For those of you guys who don't know, after Wilder lost to Fury and he was talking about the whole glove controversy and everything, Teo was the one that came out. He actually called Deontay Wilder a bitch. He said he needs to stop bitching and just go back to the drawing board. Basically like saying, just go ahead and fight him again and, come back better. But it made no sense for him to say this because at this time, Tyson Fury was telling everybody there's no way he will ever fight Deontay Wilder again. But of course, because the arbitration is forcing his hand, he may have to actually fight him now. So you tell somebody to go back to the drawing board and just fight him again when you know that the guy that you're supporting doesn't want to fight him again. So there's that. Then I also started to notice, for those of you guys who don't know this, when TEOFIMO beat Lomachenko, there were a lot of black fighters that were congratulating TEOFIMO, including fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis, Errol Spence. But in return, I noticed when Errol Spence was about to fight Danny Garcia, TEOFIMO, he was publicly rooting against Errol Spence. He was rooting for Danny Garcia. Then when Terrence Crawford fought Kell Brook, once again, TEOFIMO was rooting for the visiting team. He was rooting for Kell Brook. At first I thought that maybe Teo, he's just showing love towards his Latino people. But now we clearly know that when you see this happening with Kell Brook and this happening with Tyson Fury, it's more than that. In fact, he even said when it came to Floyd Mayweather, he said he lost respect for Floyd Mayweather for wanting to fight against Logan Paul. Now understand, guys, this is the same guy that was praising Canelo Alvarez. And when Canelo was fighting against Avni Yildirim, he never said this. He never said he lost respect for Canelo Alvarez. But when it comes to a retired fighter who's not even fighting anymore, who's 44 years old going on 45, he has a problem. He lost respect for what he does outside of the ring. That's like me telling you, I lost respect for some fighter who's been retired for 5 years because he got into a fight at the club. Guys, I don't know what it is, but I've noticed so many changes in TEOFIMO Lopez since he beat Lomachenko. Not to say that this didn't exist before, but clearly it's been put in our face now. Because see, there's nothing wrong with you privately rooting for certain people or rooting against your own country that you live in. But when you make it public, it's as if you're trying to send a message. TEOFIMO Lopez is doing exactly what 95% of non-black boxing fans always do. They always root against the black fighter. I told you guys, I'm gonna share this story again because I get new subscribers every day. I told you guys way before I was covering boxing, I told you my kids used to box and we would throw fight parties and everyone from the boxing gym would come over to my house. We would have like sometimes 50 to 70 people watching the fights. And I used to notice, now the majority of people who would be in my house, this is when I moved to Las Vegas. So I wasn't in Long Beach, California, where I'm from, where all my friends and family are there, right? In Las Vegas, I didn't have that many personal friends like that. So anyway, in this gym that we went to, the majority of people who went to this gym, because it was like the gym we were training at the time, the majority of people in that gym were not black. I'll just leave it at that, right? So when we would throw these fight parties, I would notice, we having all this food and everybody is super cordial, everybody is cool. But once the fight starts, I would notice every single time, it didn't matter who was fighting. It didn't matter if it was two complete no-names fighting against each other. On the undercard, I would notice that all of these non-black fans, they would be going crazy rooting against the black fighter whenever the black guy was fighting someone who was not black. And I thought when I first seen it, maybe it was just a coincidence, right? And then the next two fight parties we threw, same thing. I would notice this. It was very, very overt. These fans would be celebrating like it was the main event. They would be celebrating like Floyd Mayweather is getting beat up by someone, right? That once again, they didn't care how big the fight was. Just the fact that it was a black guy versus someone that wasn't black, that was enough for them to throw their full support towards the guy that was fighting the black fighter. And my point is, guys, you'll notice the exact same thing in the comment section. Whenever a black fighter fights, you will never see non-black fans congratulating him if he gets a win over someone who's not black. It doesn't matter how explosive the knockout was. It doesn't matter how significant the win was. You will seldomly ever see non-black fans congratulating a black fighter for getting a win like that. But by way of contrast, you will always see black fans congratulating someone who's not black that beat the black fighter. You see those comments all the time. And even with David Benavidez, when David Benavidez stood up to Jamal Charlo saying all the stuff that he was saying, it was black fans that was filling up the comment section saying, man, now I'm a big fan of David Benavidez because he really wants a Jamal Charlo fight. You see, that's the difference. When people do what they're supposed to do, black fans don't care what your color is. They give them the credit. But when Jamal Charlo and Demetrius Andrade called out Canelo, those Canelo fans, they attacked and they started to hate Jamal and Andrade just because they were threats to Canelo and they wanted to fight him. These are the racial double standards that we see every single day in the sport of boxing. And it's disappointing to hear Teofimo Lopez talk like these type of fans. I keep telling you guys this. It is only in America where you will have people living in America rooting against the American fighter. You will never see UK fans rooting against their own country to praise the American fighter. You will never see Mexicans do this, and you will never see Filipinos from the Philippines rooting against the Filipino fighter to praise the fighter from whatever country. This only happens in America, and it shows you how comfortable these type of people are with the climate that exists in this country. Now, don't get me wrong. Teofimo, he's taking pictures with many black people, you know, from rappers to all kind of people. And I'm sure he's fans of certain basketball teams and football teams. But the buck stop when it comes to who you're rooting for when it comes to a boxing match. And that's always how it's been. I mean, one of those fight parties that I threw, I remember after they were going crazy rooting against the black guy, right after that, a basketball game came on. And one of the guys that was there, he had a basketball jersey on and they were rooting for the basketball team, right? Because now it's no longer black versus non-black. It's everybody is black, you know, when it comes to the NBA. So they no longer see it as tribal. This is the reason why I will always tell you, boxing is based on race, nationality, and pride in that order. And this is the reason why when you're talking basketball with someone, you're not going to hear anything that sounds abnormal. But when you start talking to that person about boxing, all of a sudden you see a different side of that person. Now, I want to close out with saying this. You know, when you watch the news and you hear a reporter telling you about the crimes that's going on in your neighborhood, in your city, or whatever the case may be, understand this. This reporter is not telling everybody this because she's pleading with the criminals to stop committing crime. if there's a serial killer in the neighborhood or the city, the reporter is not telling everyone about it just to plead with the serial killer to stop killing folks. They're doing it to keep you informed. It's called awareness. So my point is, I'm not asking racist people to stop being racist. I'm keeping non-racist people aware of what's going on. And I know that firsthand. It's funny because racist people, they always say silly things like, hey man, why are you talking about racists? All you're doing is making things worse. Nah, it's the complete contrary. Because when I first started doing YouTube videos, non-black fans, and it was only one race in particular, and you guys already know which race I'm talking about, they were posting the majority of the racist messages. At least 80% of the racist messages came from this race of people. And I'm not talking about white people or white fans. Years back, when I first started doing videos on YouTube, these group of people, they would constantly put the most racist messages towards black people in my comment section. But when I first started, I would notice that these racist messages, they would be more in Fight Hype's comment section and Ellie Setback's comment section than mine's. But over the years of me exposing the racial double standards that exist in the sport of boxing, now a lot of those fans are afraid to post the type of racist messages they used to post. Now, recently, YouTube, they just started working on cleaning up all of the racist stuff that people post on the internet. But way before they started that, I used to use an option that YouTube offered to where it would automatically catch anytime people post a racial slur. And soon as someone in the comment section would use these racial slurs, like these racial tag words, it would automatically go into a review folder. And let me tell you, now I stopped looking at that review folder a couple years ago, but the last time I looked at that review folder, I had over 30,000 comments of racist messages, and 99% of them was towards black people. My point is, today, because I'm always exposing the racial double standards, once again, now a lot of these racists don't feel as comfortable as they felt before to post the racist comments. So now they're forced to use code words, say other things like, hey man, why do you have to talk about race? We don't want to hear this. Or my favorite one, stop race baiting, which is so funny when they say stop race baiting, because usually the only person that catches the bait are the racists. The only people you see saying stop race baiting are the actual racist people. I mean, usually the bait catches that fan who comes out and he says, hey man, I just want to let everyone know I have 2 or 3 black friends. My favorite fighter is Mike Tyson, and I'm not a racist. See, the bait just caught that person. Because if you know you're not a racist, you don't have to tell the whole world. I'm going to keep using this analogy because I get new subscribers all the time. If you know you're not gay and you hear someone talking about gay people, you don't just voluntarily come out and tell everybody, hey guys, I just want to let everybody know I'm not gay at all. I bang a whole lot of chicks and I can prove it. I can show you numbers. I can show you this and that. You don't have to do all of that if you know you're not gay, right? So the only people taking the bait are racist because they don't feel comfortable that they're being exposed. But you will continue to get exposed on this channel, especially if you're dumb enough to keep watching the videos. And the reason why they love watching the videos is because deep down they know everything that I say is true. They just hate the fact that it's true. I'll close out with saying this. Even though I wish this was a world where racism didn't exist, the sad truth is racism is like crime. It will always exist. Racism is like a disease. It will always spread. Another code word these racists will use today is the word racist. I mean, I've literally seen racist people get caught on camera going on a racial tirade, saying something about a black or even a Mexican person. And then in some of those videos, at the end of the tirade, they'll call the person that they've been talking about the actual racist. Donald Trump just recently called LeBron James a racist. But when it came to the Nazis marching in Charlottesville and the Nazis who invaded the Capitol, Donald Trump, he didn't even know what the word racist was. Speaking of Charlottesville, I had to stop associating with someone who he now works with, Fight Hype. He used to work with the Boxing Voice. His name is Sean. We had a conversation some years back, and that was the last time I talked to him. But I'm sharing this story because what he said, I told him, you're coming off as a racist now. And he told me, I don't care, man. I don't care what people think. And I told him to his face. I said, okay, then you shouldn't care when I share this story. So we were having this typical type of racially divided boxing conversation whenever a black fan is talking to someone who's not black. I'm used to having these type of conversations, especially with members of the media, where you have an American media member continuously discrediting the black American fighter just to praise the non-black foreign boxer. So anyway, we were having this conversation, and then that conversation spilled over into talking about Donald Trump, where then he started to defend Donald Trump. He defended Donald Trump when it came to Donald Trump defending the Nazis that were marching in Charlottesville. His exact words were, yeah, but the media, they didn't play everything that Donald Trump said, as if that changed the context when Donald Trump said there were good and bad on both sides. Then while defending Donald Trump, in the same conversation, he started to show me his disdain for Colin Kaepernick because he was upset that Nike signed Colin Kaepernick. And he was like, this is some BS. I mean, all that money he got, shouldn't he be giving it to the black people in the ghetto, since those are the people he's fighting for? I said, people in the ghetto? I said, so that's how you look at all these black people getting shot and killed by the police, is just people in the ghetto? And I told him a lot of the black people that got killed by police or other racist people, they weren't in the ghetto. When Trayvon Martin got killed, it wasn't in the ghetto. And he just said, yeah, that's true. This man was basically trying to minimize and justify a death because he believed that these black people live in the ghetto anyway. As if some people, depending on their circumstances and skin tone, doesn't deserve justice. But my point is, I wouldn't have known he was that type of person if I didn't have a boxing conversation with him. And to this day, he's doing interviews trying to protect TEOFIMO from Devin Haney, even though he does interviews with both Devin Haney and TEOFIMO. Matter of fact, the last time he interviewed TEOFIMO Lopez, he was trying to coach TEOFIMO into saying that Devin Haney should have to get a very impressive knockout against Linares to earn a shot at TEOFIMO Lopez. But surprisingly, TEOFIMO, he wouldn't bite. He kept saying to Teo, do you think Devin should have to get an impressive knockout to get a win with you? And Teo said, I'm gonna leave that up to the fans. Kambosos didn't need an impressive knockout to get a fight against TEOFIMO. Nakatani didn't need it. And this reporter, Sean, he never asked if Josh Taylor should have to get a knockout, an impressive knockout win to get a fight with TEOFIMO. So instead of being a reporter with integrity, trying to push for the fights that the boxing fans want to actually see, this guy is over here trying to get Teo to avoid the fights the fans want to see. In fact, he would rather Teo fight some other guy that a lot of people have never heard of, who also hasn't won by getting an impressive knockout in his last win. He only puts that stipulation on Devin Haney, but once again, he does interviews with Devin Haney. How disrespectful is that when you know that Devin Haney wants the TEOFIMO fight? This is what we're dealing with, guys, in the sport of boxing. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. Now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
An important message from Youth Fountain Laboratory, makers of VasoFlux and VasoFlux for Men. If you're over the age of 35 and over the years you've eaten pizza, dairy foods, deli meats, or meats with fat, you are likely to have some degree of plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. This increases your risk of suffering a stroke or heart attack exponentially, and no one wants such a catastrophic event to occur. Introducing Blackout. Blackout is made of all natural ingredients proven to help dissolve clots in the blood, remove calcium deposits and plaque from the walls of veins and arteries, improve viscosity of the blood, improve elasticity of the veins and arteries, treat varicose veins, and prevent the reoccurrence of plaque buildup. For more information, visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856. And remember, to help unclog veins and arteries, get the Blackout.